Hi everyone, welcome to the latest video review. Today I have the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Remastered Mighty Morphin Yellow Ranger. For those of you who aren't familiar with what the Remastered Lightning Collection line is, basically for the 30th Power Rangers anniversary, Hasbro released these 30th anniversary remastered versions of the Mighty Morphin figures that were released. These figures, they look very similar to what the Ranger is supposed to look like. They have extra detailing on them, and whatever flaws the first Mighty Morphin figures we had, they basically improved upon them and made them look a lot more accurate, which is really awesome. So in the front here we have a picture of the Yellow Ranger, and on the left there we have another nice picture of the Yellow Ranger. It's hard to tell if it's the suit or CGI. Looking at the helmet, looks like CGI or animated. We turn it here, you have a nice picture of the Yellow Ranger holding her morpher. And on the back here, we have a nice little legend or breakdown of what you're going to get there. So you have Trini here. You have two power daggers. You have the Yellow Ranger helmet, morpher. The blade blast trains three of its formations. And you have two beautiful effect pieces and four hands. So you have what looks like karate chop hand. You have the two morpher hands, and I think that one's a fist. It's hard to tell. Yep, that's a fist right there. And that's pretty much it. And on the far left there, we have a picture of the figure holding the morpher. They always make it look so perfect, but with these female figures, it's hard to get the morph pose. So maybe I'll get lucky with the Yellow Ranger. That's pretty much it. And get this beautiful picture on the side of all five Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or all six, my bad. And that's pretty much it. And there you have it. That's the box for the Mighty Morphin Yellow Ranger, the remastered version. Just what the Yellow Ranger looks like out of the packaging. Honestly, they did a good job with the figure. Right away, I noticed the legs that they fixed it because the first edition of the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger girls, they had these wobbly legs that were like way too wide and would not sit straight. So like when you tried to get the figure to stand, it was so hard. More than likely they would fall over. So I'm glad they fixed that. Let me show you guys a close-up of the figure. So I love those detailed lines around the belt and the holster. And Trini looks really cool too. Honestly, I'm glad they got Trini correct both times. Like the first time around, they got her really well. But the second time, also, they got her well. And I love the new hairstyle with the pigtails. I think she wore the pigtails a few times, maybe one or two episodes. Maybe I'm wrong. Did a great job with this figure. Now, but accessories, you get these really nice effect pieces for the figure. You get four hand attachments. You get this fist. You get the hand that holds the morpher. You have that top hand when it's holding the morpher, the one that pretty much goes like that. And it's supposed to have like a karate chop hand too. And I'm not too sure where that little hand went. You guys get the idea. And you get these two power daggers. One thing that I noticed that's different about these power daggers is that instead of silver, they colored the power coin in gold. You have the blade blaster in its gun formation, holster formation, and with its blade out, which looks like this. And finally, we have the power morpher, my favorite accessory. It's interesting how none of the people who produced these figures prior never thought about including a little miniature power morpher. Because it's a really cool accessory. I love it. And for the Yellow Ranger helmet, sorry about that. This is what it looks like. I like how they finally perfected it. We'll do a comparison of the previous figures, but the first and rendition that I had black paint bleeding towards the helmet. The second one looked really nice, but I felt like they made the visor a little bit smaller for the helmet. This one I think is perfect. There's no plain paint bleeding, and the visor looks like it's supposed to look. Now for articulation, you move the arm from side to side. Mine is still pretty stiff. You have 360 articulation by the shoulder here. You move the hand up, down. By the elbow, you can bend it. You have these little arm movements, 360 glove movement. You can open up the chest, make it wider by moving the arms to the back. Or you can move it to the front to narrow the chest. For the legs, you can move it to the side, up, down. There's 360 movement right here. The knee has double jointed articulation. You can move the boot and the shoe. And you get the head, you can move it around the chest and then forth. Oh, the head is already coming out. It's weird. Some of these heads, I don't know if you guys have experienced it. When you're putting it on the figure, not all of them click, but then stays on really well. So it's hard to know which figures click and which don't. And that's pretty much it for articulation. They did an amazing job with this figure. Let's compare the trainees. I do apologize for the picture that I chose. There's like little to no pictures of Tree supporting this hairstyle with the two pigtails. And I had to find like a picture that was really clear, and the only really clear picture is this one. So yeah, and I really couldn't find a picture where her expression is neutral. So let's try to do a comparison. I know it's not the same expression, so it'll be a little bit challenging. But overall, they did a great job of capturing her. Only difference I would say is the bangs. The bangs are considerably longer on the Trini picture, to the point where it's covering her eyebrows. And the lips, the lipstick on Trini in the picture there is a brighter shade of red. And maybe I would even say the skin tone is lighter, but then again, that could be the lighting. And that's pretty much it. It's just really minor things. They're like overall, they did a great job capturing her. And I must say, seeing this picture makes me a little bit sad because Trini looked like she was full of energy and full of life. I love seeing this picture, but it's sad to think that the actress is no longer with us. And props to the team for giving us a different hairstyle for Trini because they could have easily given us the long hair again because that's the signature hairstyle that's Trini supported throughout the show. So here are the different Trinis that were released. She had three different releases. So the very first one we got is the Yellow Ranger in the middle there. And they did a great job of capturing Trini. The second release of her we got was a comic book version. So this version is of a different trainee. So it's not the same one as the TV show. That's why she looks slightly different. And that she was like I guess, a female Red Ranger. I'm sorry, guys, I never read the comics, so I really wouldn't know. And then finally, we have the remastered Yellow Ranger trainee. Honestly, they all look really good. If I were to choose one, I would go with the original training we got. It's only because I loved her long hair, and that was kind of part of her. With the one with the pigtails also looks good, but I'm so used to training having that long hair. So I would say I would give it to her first, go to the first trainee. And there's the leg issue that I was telling you about. As you can tell, the legs are curved here and it's not really like straight like these two figures. And that causes an issue. Like it's like any moment the figure could like fall over. It's time to compare the Yellow Rangers. So I don't have all of them. There are two that I'm missing, which is the Ninja Turtles Power Ranger crossover that happened in the comics. I don't have that figure, and honestly, I never really cared for those figures. They just look like a hot mess. But again, I shouldn't judge if maybe if I read the comics, it would have made more sense. But and then there's the Ninjago Yellow Ranger. I was never able to get the Ninjago Rangers because they were super expensive. They're pretty much the same price as the remastered figures, and I can't justify spending that much on Ninjago figure because like I don't know, I like them, but not enough to want to fork over that much cash. And plus, getting all seven of them because we're talking Kimberly and Kat, like that would have costed way too much and not up for doing all of that. And so I have all these Yellow Rangers here. The one with the skirt I did in like 5 minutes because I really like the Gokaiger version of all the Yellow Rangers, and Gokaiger and Super Mega Force version. Because in our version, up to Lightspeed Rescue, our yellows were female, when most of those yellows were male in the Sentai. So seeing the female version of them, I really liked it because I'm like, okay, so this is what the Power Rangers version would have looked like had they gone the extra mile and added the skirt. I mean, I understand why they didn't because they would really have to make a lot of their own footage, and that's too costly. But yeah, and it looked like, and honestly, I like the male Yellow Ranger myself because it gives fans an option to have like a Jew Ranger team from the Lightning Collection. Like all they had to do is just swap out the female yellow and have a Jew Ranger guy figure. Or they can, if they're also fans who want to stay authentic to season one. Season one did use pretty much mostly Sentai footage. So if you didn't get a female Yellow Ranger suit until like I think later on in season two or all of season two, I think used it. I can't really remember. So there is that. Then each of these suits, I would say, pretty much appeared at one point in Mighty Morphin. Like season one, I would say the guy Yellow Ranger suit, the female Yellow Rangers, the two in the middle, could be like they're accurate to season two and three. Then we have the one with the skirt, is the Super Mega Force Go Cager version. And we have the metallic version that appeared later in season three. And honestly, comparing all of them, I must say the remastered Yellow Ranger comes up top because the male Yellow Ranger figure, it's very flimsy. Like I don't know if I can actually show you. Like I don't know, the joints aren't stiff. I'm trying to get it to look normal when it's like standing, but you can tell it looks like off. It's kind of wobbly. And there's this one with the weird looking legs, where this foot here is like so like bent out of shape. Just looks so bad. This one here is not too bad. Still has slight bit leg issue like the other Yellow Ranger, but it's a little bit better. The metallic version, they did a great job, but there was really nothing really that they did. Even the helmet, they fixed it. And with this figure here, the very first Yellow Ranger, I had significant paint bleeding. I don't know if you guys can tell. There's that black color there that's bled onto the yellow of the helmet. I have the same issue here with the male Yellow Ranger. It's not as bad. It's right there. So overall, looking at the figure as a whole, I must give it to the remastered Yellow Ranger. They did a phenomenal job with that figure. I love it. So let's do a comparison of the two Yellow Rangers. I tried my best to find like a normal female Yellow Ranger suit, but this is the only one I could find where you can see the entire suit in a normal body position. But it's so weird because in that suit, it either looks like the morpher on the belt is photoshopped, or the entire belt has moved too much to the left. Morpher just looks so weird on there. And even the helmet, I feel like it's not proportionate to the actual suit. It looks like a bit bigger. Anyways, let's do a comparison. In the suits from the actual show, they seem to have larger diamonds on the chest because I've noticed when I did pink and green and black ranger reviews, like same thing. And they all have these black lines that are very discreet on the TV show version, but they're much more bolder and very pronounced on the figure. But I noticed on the Yellow Ranger, I don't know if it's because their color is light, you can significantly make out the black lines versus the other Power Ranger suits. So that's what they look like. Honestly, I'm inclined to actually say the figure this time around actually looks better than the suit because like I can't tell if this is from the TV show or if someone just did a cosplay and that's why it looks like that. But it was either between this or a male Yellow Ranger from the TV show, and I didn't want to choose that because we're doing a female figure, so it would only be appropriate to find a female version of the suit. So that's why I chose this one here. Well, overall, I must say that they got everything correct. Only thing is the helmet. I noticed the helmet on the TV show. The visor actually has a lot more space, and even the mouthpiece is bigger versus the one on the actual figure. I'm trying to see, like maybe facing down. Let's bring it closer. And yeah, the helmet definitely is bigger on the one in the suit versus the figure. You can really tell the features apart a little bit more clearly. So yeah, if we're looking at the overall suit, I'll definitely give it to the figure. But if we're comparing helmets, the suit would definitely get it because the features are being more clearer on the suit. One thing I failed to mention is that the yellow shade that they use for this figure is just perfect because the figure looks more cleaner and it brings out the figure a lot more versus the other Yellow Rangers. I just wanted to show you guys what she looks like with her daggers. And it looks really nice. One thing that I noticed when I was putting the little gun in her holster, there's a bit of a tight squeeze versus the other Rangers where you just put the gun in the holster and it went right in without any issues. It's pretty much it. So really nice. So I want to show you guys the different daggers. So I did say that the dagger has like a gold power coin versus the other ones. So let me show you guys like a side by side comparison. So this is what the dagger looks like with the other Yellow Rangers. This one they colored it in the right color gold. The power daggers they pretty much look the same. There isn't really too much of a difference. So I want to mimic the morph hand pose. Definitely not close as the one on the box. But I would say it is actually a little bit better than the Kimberly figure. Still, the guy figure is cramped with this hand pose because you can do it easily on them, versus the female figure. And it looks great. I love the little morpher on the hand. And the problem is, if you're gonna get the morpher straight, it's kind of hard to get this hand directly on top of the morpher. So you kind of have to play around with it. But I don't know, maybe you guys have been successful in perfecting it. But with the female figures, I have a hard time doing it. We have finally reached the end of the review, and my overall feedback with this figure, it's a good figure. Honestly, they took little things from the first figure and they improved it, such as those weird legs and even the helmet, although it's more of an individualized issue because while some figures have paint bleeding, others don't. So my Yellow Ranger, like I showed you guys earlier, had like the black bleeding onto the yellow part of the helmet. There's that. So they I'm glad to have a Yellow Ranger without that issue. And this is actually one of the few figures where it's like, okay, cool, yeah, I like it. Whereas the other Mighty Morphin figures were like, okay, wow, they're freaking amazing. Only because, and this is just my own theory, is because they didn't manage to screw up the Yellow Ranger the first time around. So much so that the remastered figure really like pops in your face. The other ones popped in my face because I know the very first Pink Ranger, they managed to screw her up significantly with the wobbly legs, the visor being the incorrect, didn't like curve it up enough. Like the Black Ranger had a really messed up oversized helmet. Zach did not look like Zach. Kimberly barely looked like Kimberly. And there were various other issues with the other colors, so they did really stand out for me. But the case is different for yellow. They got Trini right the first time. Even though there was paint bleeding on the helmet still looked like the Yellow Ranger. They didn't manage to mess it up that much. And yeah, so but still, don't get me wrong, this is still a good figure. And would I recommend it to you guys? Yes, I would recommend it. Like these remastered figures are amazing. They really look so much like the one from the TV show. Even this figure, it stands out a little bit because the shade of yellow, like I mentioned before, really brings it out and makes the figure look much more smoother and a little bit more premium than the individual release of the Yellow Ranger. So yes, this figure is a worthwhile purchase. Hopefully, you guys got lucky because Toys R Us here in Canada did have for about 2 weeks like a 50% sale. Only problem was availability. Like buying this online was almost impossible because the stock was gone and you really had to hunt from Toys R Us to Toys R Us. And GameStop, I think you'll get lucky if you find in GameStop because they are facing this figure out as well because the newer figures are pink, green, and red that were released 2 months ago. The older figures like blue, yellow, and I think even black is slowly being like phased out. So if you find this figure, do not hesitate, just buy it because later on you will regret it. I mean, even if you change your mind, you do have that option to return it like in 30 days. But yeah, do not sit on this figure, especially because you don't want it to sell out and then you regret it. For prices in Canada, they are 49.99 if you find them at Toys R Us. Even in GameStop, same price. But if you're lucky enough to have that Edge Rewards card, we'll knock off 10%, which will be like about like $6. It's not much, but getting all six, it does end up saving you something. And that's pretty much it. And me personally, I was able to take advantage of that sale from Toys R Us for half my team, like red, blue, and yellow. Not yellow, sorry, pink. I was able to get it for that price. But yellow, like I would have had to like really gone to a far off Toys R Us. The manufacturing gas money and or if I were to take the transit money, it just doesn't make sense because it will come up to the same price as just buying the Yellow Ranger at regular. So I'll say forget it. I'll just deal with what I have. So that's my review, and please keep a lookout for the other reviews. I'm gonna eventually do blue and red. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please like, subscribe, and comment. It really does help. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.